It's really refreshing with Clint because he's never a kid in a candy store with visual effects. He's using it as a tool to reflect the movie making that he has always done.
Without Michael's help and without the help of the CGI houses that we've used, you wouldn't be able to recreate that tsunami.
Clint likes to make his films almost like the way jazz musicians play their music. You know, they have a whole lot of creative people come in and they come up with a whole lot of different ideas, and you see what comes out of that process. And that's what happened with the tsunami sequence.
We looked at all this live-action footage from the real tsunami in 2004, which is pretty sad at sometimes. But all of this was like these mobile cameras. So everything was kind of blurry, and our task was really to match this characteristic, with the only difference that it is now in full high definition.
One of the key points for Michael was that it feel real, that it's not the big dramatic over-the-top adventure movie, that this is supposed to be a real heartfelt story and you're supposed to be immersed in it.
What we're able to do on this film, I think, for the first time, is actually do water simulation on a grand scale.
Water is particularly difficult to do.
The resort where the tsunami first hits the resort is definitely one of the hardest shots, but also one of the most amazing shots. That's a 100% digital shot. So in that case, every person in there, the pool, all the little umbrellas, everything in there is completely artificial. The buildings are built log for log so we could destroy them any way we wanted. Even the little pool toys, we have tons of little toys sitting in the pool that get destroyed. There's lots of little details in there.
Clint always shoots on practical locations whenever possible.
Oh, I've done some in the ocean, I've done some in tanks.
When we were in Hawaii, Clint was like, let's get Marie and the little girl in the ocean.
So a lot of the footage above the water is in the tsunami sequence, was a lifesaver for us because the lighting in that particular environment was immediately believable.
One of the really big challenges was the sheer amount of different situations of water that we had to integrate. Partially tank footage where the actors would have been shot in a tank with live-action water.
3, 2, 1, and action.
This tank facility is just amazing. We're shooting it all green screen, which is we're placing the background environment in completely in the digital world.
The nicest thing about it, the water is 90 degrees.
Marie, our actress, is interacting with the water that would carry her away and down the street. We've got underwater jets, we've got top surface jets.
They're mainly like big fire hoses. If we angle them up, it's just creating a white water rapid, and then underwater is creating like an underwater current stream. So if we sort of pop the actress underneath one of those jets and then pop her up, all of a sudden she's carried by a jet and goes sweeping past the camera.
She's underwater, she's on top of the water, it's complete chaos.
It's amazing. We have a multi-million-pound shoot with all the 100 years of cinema technology creating the waves. There's a guy with a barrel just pumping it up and down. The demands on the actors are absolutely huge.
Cecile is fantastic. I mean, today she's been extremely brave and extremely patient. I mean, she's been in the water since 10 o'clock. She's had an hour's break, and she's done very, very well.
Excellent, guys. And we've cut. Very good. Moving on.
Especially in doing underwater filmmaking, you always face the issue of visibility, for example. In a live tsunami, you would for sure, once the camera goes underwater, probably see almost nothing because so much dirt and so much debris. But again, we're doing a film, so we kind of want to see something underwater. So Michael Owens actually came up with that idea that the tsunami wave is actually not just that big rush of dirty water. It's actually, you know, there's partially clear water coming in somewhere and partially dirty water from somewhere else.
We looked at tons and tons of reference, and one of the things that kept standing out is a lot of these third world countries have just an enormous number of power poles everywhere. There's actually somebody, if you look at under the balcony, there's somebody being electrocuted, and then there are people who get crushed by the cars.
Sometimes you get carried away a little bit and say, oh, that would be such a cool shot. Hey, let's have another car floating by.
There were definitely moments where I was like, oh, you really want to do that?
Everybody in the visual effect production team had to realize, you know what, wait a second. This is not about how cool the tsunami is. This is about the fear and the terror of a woman almost dying.
Because it is a period where we're going out of the realistic tsunami into a process where she's being deprived of air and she's moving into the other side. Michael wanted to sort of have an aspect of that was going into a very much a surreal environment. We called that the floaty bear sequence. I spent a lot of time underneath a swimming pool staring up at the surface trying to figure out what that would look like.
This was not a movie about the tsunami, because it's not a disaster movie. It's about a private person having a near-death experience.
I think this story offers an interesting opportunity visually and storytelling-wise to enter into that blur between now and hereafter.
I wrote the script, and then because it had all these locations and it had all this scale, and yet is a fairly unconventional story, I thought, well, this is never going to get made.
Action! Go, go, go!
It was a really complicated international shoot, but you know, that's what the story required.
San Francisco has a distinct look, and Paris distinct, of course, and so does London.
Most of the time we were in the projects of London, and it was a little dicey in those areas. But that's where we had to go to get the look that we needed on film.
We were walking down this long alleyway, and I said to Clint, wow, I'm thrilled, because I really wanted social reality, and this is it. And there was a long pause. He sort of said, yeah, this is a place you wouldn't want to let your lady walk alone at night. I said, I'm going to write that down, because nobody in our generation would say that. But Clint wouldn't mind being on his own. You wouldn't let your lady walk you alone at night. Heaven. It was absolute heaven.
I was driving the producer around to the various potential locations for George's apartment.
I actually got out of the van and recognized immediately that we were in the place where they filmed Bullet.
And he said, Clint's gonna love that.
Mr. Eastwood really enjoys shooting in practical locations, and consequently, the apartment was small.
I'm from the Bay Area, so I know the neighborhoods there. This is very typical of a lot of apartments in that area.
Marker.
Very few guys Clint's age can get in the Pacific Ocean a half mile out and hoof it.
That was a first. I had not seen Clint jump in the water before, but that's pretty typical of his directing style.
Water was where my background was. I started out in life as a swimmer and a swimming instructor, so I go where things are going.
The film should have that international feel. These are questions that people are grappling with all over the world as we speak, and always have been and always will be.
When I first read Hereafter, I wasn't necessarily surprised that Clint was going to do this material. I mean, I was really excited. He's our best.
I think Clint wants people to feel close of his character, since those are not superheroes, but normal people with their weakness and defects.
You know he's picking the right material. Everything he's done is wonderful. If you get that call, any actor in America will be there.
He himself is on point. And I think, therefore, everyone around him is as well.
I've never met anyone more in control of anything. Michael Jordan's jump shot wasn't as controlled as the Clint Eastwood said.
Come ahead.
There's a lot of people that would like to hijack Clint's team and his working style. But the tough thing is, though, it all emanates from him. He's the boss. He has the clout to do things a certain way.
He really expects you to be incredibly prepared. They tell you where to stand, and it's the old Cagney line of look the other guy in the eye and tell the truth.
Joan Menendez is my wife's nurse. Took care of her for 15 years.
Stop.
It's cut.
He's been great with the kids because, you know, they've never acted before, and he doesn't ever say anything's wrong. And that's the most safe world you can be in.
George, do me a favor. Stop right here, and then just, you know, it's almost like you're thinking about it for a second.
He's really good with kids because if you get something wrong in the film, he'd just say, just do it again and try your best.
He starts going, you are, you stay right on him too. Yes, you are. You know, I recognize your pictures.
I've learned a lot from Mr. Eastwood, and he's taught me to not look at the lens and just to focus and be yourself.
Go, action. Get lost in the crowd, George.
He's really calm, he's really centered, and he's very funny. He's a very funny man.
Not so fast, mate.
Matt gave me great advice the first day. He goes, enjoy every day that you're here because it's going to be over so fast and you're going to be on another movie going, wow, I had it so good over there when I was working with Clint.
I love the way he tells stories. I love that he is a storyteller more than anything. You know, it's not about clever shots, although there are clever shots, but I don't remember clever shots. What I remember is the story. That's what I come away with.
Story is everything. Story is the king.